put on everybody by the government, using unnecessary force to force you to do something that was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
This is how they gave Paleface what we call fornication rights under the order of the king to become a MF, right? Because they gave them free run. Remember, what is the spoils of war in the 1500s and the 1400s? It's the women.
That's right.
It's the wealth, and it's the children, right? Why do you think they call a woman's behind posterior a booty?
Right.
Booty is a spoil of war.
Right.
Right? If you get conquered in war, that's how they unleash their rapers on you. Because you don't want to comply with the ones who think they win in the war. They allow or they activate rape culture. And now they can use the rape culture to villainize the innocent and glorify the wicked using the same culture, rape culture. Right? It's the government doing it. The government is pushing the agenda using propaganda means by exploiting the gossip channel and clogging it up with a bunch of don't tell this person because this person is a good person. And you don't want the good person to get tripped up for doing something to the bad person. And then they're going to send the police in. You got the good person, the bad person, and then the police. Where they come from? You got to think your way out of the trap. You can't just walk out the trap because it's not going to be that easy.
Right.
Right? You have to pinky in the brain it. What we going to do today, Pink? Take over the world. Take over the world. Right? How you going to take over the world when you can't even take over your own house? Let that sink in. You want to take over the world, but you don't even want to you can't even take over your own house.
Right.
You can't conquer your own home that you live in and sleep in. Right? So so this is where the problem come in, because the average person don't want to conquer the world. And they still don't want to conquer their own life. Conquer your own life. Don't worry about the world to take care of itself if everybody conquer their own life. But you've been taught to disregard the ambitions to be your highest, most authentic self in order to go along and get along with the colonizer. But you swear that you a civil rights activist and you going against him, but you're doing everything he told you to do to fight him. You're not coming up with your own strategies. You using, he said, okay, this is the rules. If you fight me, you have to fight me like this.
Yeah.
That's retarded. As soon as your colonizer, your oppressor, tell you that it's okay for you to fight back as long as you fight me this way, he won. Because as long as you fighting the way he told you to fight, you're not going to win the war. Guaranteed. I don't care who you think you is, how big and how bad. If your enemy tell you how to fight him, he's never going to tell you a coherent, functional strategy for you to ever come out on top. He gonna always give you the strategy that's gonna keep you under his jurisdictional authority. And if you don't change your strategy, you just gonna fall for it. You gonna go along to get along. A lot of people don't think they go along to get along. They think they radicals and rebels, but they some tap dancing, bootlicking, brown nosing, go along to get along. That's their game. That's their clique. They are members and don't even know it. Go along to get along, gang.
Now, Raw, we got a lot of Caucasian. Well, it's a lot of them. They think they're Caucasian. They're really not, because you got to have one. But we got a lot of fans that's on here, and they, everybody's still dealing with the white and the black thing.
I don't deal with it because that's the most retarded thing to me.
They white, and people, it's people that think they really white people, right? Or they really black people, and that's so. Could you go in on how they the ethnic group thing and how they using that to try to, the white and black thing? Ain't really no white black people. It's all game. white that's not even not even dealing with skin.
So skin color is an artificial caste system.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they can get you to follow the skin color edict in the pseudosciences that support the fallacy, they got you trapped in a divide and conquer mechanism that's going to always keep them in power. So if they so-called white folks and they've been here longer than their family can trace back into anything 1800s, they mulattoes, octroons and quadroons. They not none. Remember, they had gave the pale face during the so-called slave years absolute right to rape the women. Right. That was part of the compensation for running the plantation and masquerading as the owner of the plantation.
Right.
Is they had the reign to go out and do whatever they wanted to the women from the field. Right. It's part of war strategy. Okay, now they didn't make all of those quadroons, octroons, mulattoes, Melungians, mestizos, and the list goes on and on, mixes of children that could be passing for paleface, pass for white, imitation of life. And then they turned them all loose and they all moved north. Most of them moved north and married in to what we call the white community. Remember, they was marrying pale faces to escape the oppression of being recognized as being black.
Right.
Which is two legal statuses. They jump in the caste system from the bottom to the top because they got the skin to fit in the top echelon. Most of your Hollywood celebrities is mulattoes. They quadroons, they octroons. Yo, John Wayne, yo, Fred Astaire,
Brad Pitt,
all them. Yep. They all anybody whose family been in America longer than 100 years is they not pure-blooded Caucasian no more, European.
That's a fact, Rob. That's a straight up fact.
And that's that go back to the great melding pot philosophy.
Yeah.
The one drop of blood doctrine. God's crucible. What did you do in the crucible? You smelt. It's a melding pot. And only you need time, temperature, and pressure to cause the catalyst of transformation to take place.
That definitely happened in America.
Yeah. Look, when they was doing the final analysis of the effectiveness of obtaining that one drop of blood to give them ascension rights. It's all about ascension.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
It's all about ascension. It ain't about nothing else.
Yeah.
But we want to call it good and evil. Okay, well, whatever it was, it ain't about that. It's about ascension rights and violating the free will universe and making amends for the error of producing a sentient being that was denied the rights of ascension. This is what it's a great debauchery, right? Somebody did something. When you talk debauchery, you talking all kinds of wicked being done at one time. It was done in the laboratory. They tell you in the Anunnaki tablets what they did, and they tell you the remedy. Enki told them the remedy was to give them a drop of Anunnaki blood. The concept remains the same. If you take a sentient being, he don't have ascension rights, but you can take a ascended being from any of the ascended rising families and give them a drop of blood to the ones that need to ascend, and you activate they motherline DNA ascension rights. This is what this is all about.
Hey, what do you say about? I remember Elijah Muhammad talking about the different. He's explained in basic format the different people on the planet, but he explained them in color format. He used to say the red man, the black man, the yellow man, and I think he was the brown man.
Elijah was identifying the different strata of the caste system.
Okay.
Right. He only gave like 5 different colors.
Yeah.
Right. If you go into India and you look at it from a different perspective, it's not based on skin color. They put skin color into the caste system later. That was Enlil doing. Those stringy hair, yellow Hindus, them Enlil children.
Go ahead.
Inky children was displaced by them and put at the very, very bottom. And they call them the untouchables, the Dravidians. They got a couple other names for them too. But they the darkest ones. And some of them still got the same straight hair, but they just so dark, they got purple and blue tint to them.
And they call them thugs, like in Thug Life.
Those are the devotees to Kali Ma.
Yeah, the thugs.
Yeah, those were the ones who held the motherland's most sacred. They believed in maintaining the balance and equilibrium of justice across the land in order to keep mama satisfied. Because if mama's satisfied, she gonna be able to give each child instructions on finding harmony. And when all of the children know how to find their own harmony, the family is in balance. Right? I talked to Mike Penny, Michelle. He called me 2 days ago. Anyway, so when you look at these different classifications, the classifications is tools of division. Right? Who did Malachi say win the race and racism?
Nobody.
Nobody. You know why? It's not a real race. Racism is not a real race. It's a fictitious race.
Go ahead.
It's a sidebar race in order to distract you from the original struggle. Original sin wasn't eating from the tree of knowledge. The original sin was trapping people in a box and calling them your pet and breeding them like animals, like the same way you do the dogs. You ain't supposed to do that to people. Right? But most of us believe Eve ate the apple and gave Adam a bite, and so we all doomed for all eternity for being hungry.
Now, Rod, now let's get into this. The slave narrative. I'm starting to think that they came out with this about around the 1800s, 1865. I think they came out with it right in after the Civil War. So based on your perspective, because they couldn't have came out with this before the 1800s, us being a slave narrative, because like I said in that movie, I remember them King George, when the British came over, they asked these people working on this plantation, they said, y'all can come work for King George and be free. And they said, well, we ain't slaves. We just work here. That's what they told the dude riding on the horse, British dude. So when do you think they created this "you from Africa"? They started trying to tell us we from Africa as slaves. That narrative as slaves, because Africans is already over here prior to that whole slave narrative. 1492.
I've been saying for the longest we've been marrying up and down the eastern seaboard with many tribes from Africa's royal families.
Yeah.
Right. This was so that the royalty can keep diversified blood so that they don't have inbred traits, because they were still marrying for power ancestrally, but because they also incorporated blood from other lands, it kept the blood where it was so diversified that you don't have the birth defects, because you understood genetics. You don't understand genetics. What I'm talking about now sound like straight gibberish. But when you like, for instance, if you look at the Appalachians, where it was prolonged, isolated inbreeding among a small group of Europeans, and they got a distinctive, what we call an inbred look.
Right.
All it does is cause the traits that's most prominent to be more pronounced in the physiology. The phenotype is a reflection of the genotype. The exaggerated features show the lack of diversity in the bloodline. right? But when the bloodline have diverse features, this is because you incorporating outside blood.
Mm-hmm.
And some of y'all gonna look the same and some of y'all not.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we got nappy hair natives that been here the whole time, and we got straight hair natives that been here the whole time. But all of them is dark as a mug from being baked in that Mississippi sun.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So you can't tell somebody that you ain't one of us unless they character show you difference. It's the only way you can prove it.
Mm-hmm.
We had a broad spectrum of people. When you go back, yeah, they described the original melanated woolly hair people that looked to them like Africans when they got here. They described them in their writings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? They still ain't saying we from Africa yet, though. Remember that. Okay, now, they also in their writings describe the ones with the dark skin and the straight hair like Chief Warhorse.
Right.
Right? She got naturally what we call wavy hair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If that's her hair texture, and her skin is, heavily melanated.
Yeah, silky looking hair texture.
Her family lineage can trace back, what she said, 11,000 years.
Yeah.
That she can go in and get the paper and go back 11,000 years. This was this one mama, and this one was this one mama, and this one was this one mama. She can go back 11,000 years, ancestor for ancestors, that she's already proven to the courts in this system.
That's right.
Right? So we know that her family didn't get brought over here on no damn ship.
Facts.
Because she couldn't have that lineage going back 11,000 years with a 500-year history.
That's right. Facts.
It's the same way you got a 2,000-year-old Jesus with a 500-year-old name. And nobody don't find that suspicious.
What?
Right? You can't have both. You can't have it both ways. Either Jesus was 2,000 years ago or Jesus was 500 years ago. But you can't have both of them.
Right?
It's one or the other in the name of the truth. That's according to right knowledge, right wisdom, right thinking, right understanding. That's all about the right-hand path for the righteous. You can't take what's correct and then make it incorrect and give it back to me and tell me it's correct, because I'm going to see the difference.
Right.
Right? So if I'm going to see the difference, then I'm going to correct you on the error that you inserted into the correct information. Now, other people that have been saturated with the information for so long, they don't believe it. They can't see the lie because they've assimilated into the concept or the storyline that the lie generates. It's the same thing when the actor gets stuck in character and got to go to the site to rediscover itself because he's been playing this movie role for 8 weeks, and now he done lost 2 years. Especially the ones they call method actors, right? Where they stay in character through the whole filming of a movie so it'd be natural to them and come across as authentic on the screen. Right? So once you get stuck in character with the fallacy and somebody that's breaking the character from the fallacy, you get offended because you feel like you being attacked. It's not an attack on you, it's an attack on that lie that they tricked you with. But don't nobody want to admit they got tricked. They the only ones got the truth. They swear up and down they got the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And I'm telling them you got the whole lie, nothing but the lie, so help you the devil. You coming over here doing devilish men in the name of God. Who your God? The devil. You don't even know it because he got you thinking that evil is good and good is evil.
Right.
Right. So if you twist a man by keeping them disoriented, you can make them go wherever you want to because all they doing is staggering. All you got to do is bump them and they're going to go whatever way you bump them.
Right.
Right. It's the same as a drunk dude. You just don't know you information drunk. You drunk on lies. So when you get drunk on the lie, they bump you with another lie in the direction they want you to go, and the truth gonna corral you because you're gonna avoid the truth because it's gonna be uncomfortable. And you can't stay in the stupor if you're uncomfortable because you're no longer being relaxed, being deceived. Once you break that comfort zone, and then your mind start asking you questions that the other person's statements trigger. Right? Now you want to know, wait a minute. Why do that sound like that might be some validity to what they're saying? Or do you see something that they say come to pass and you be like, man, I don't believe what he be saying, but every time he say something, it happen. And he telling you the truth, you seeing it come to reality, and you still hate him for disturbing your life.
Hey, say Rod. So I'm writing. I got the questions written down. The next question I got for you is about jungle fever, because some people was noticing that some of these Moors came over here with Caucasian, pale-faced women for they wives, and then even like you just went in on a little bit of that too just a minute ago. But the jungle fever thing, and I guess it ties into the one drop of blood, I guess. But this is the part that tied into this is right here is the part of the question though. Now, I put a tape out like about a week ago about it was like 5 incidents. The AI ended up finding 5 incidents where white women said something and then that triggered a black massacre, a Nubian town, Native American town being burned down. One incident is Rosewood. Another incident happened in Atlanta. You already know about the Tulsa, and then you already know about the Emmett Till when he flirted with the white girl or whatever in Mississippi. Now, so that brings me to my next question: the jungle fever, and why was these Moors so afraid of the Native American man over here looking at the white woman?
He wasn't. It's reverse psychology.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go back and read Sex and Race by J. Roger and Nature Knows No Color Line.
Uh-huh.
It was reverse psychology. Read Superman the Man.
Uh-huh.
And he tell you how repulsed we were by the pale-faced woman.
Uh-huh.
The only way that we was going to accept her is you had to tell us she was off limit and manufacture her as the status quo of the best woman.
Alchemy at its highest form.
You can't tell no guy what to do. You can tell him what he can't do is the only way you're going to get him to do what he wouldn't do anyway.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It was reverse psychology.
Yeah, that's fact, bro.
That's all, because they had to get that drop of blood. The motherland, the pale-faced fatherland did their part, right? Because